Assalamu alaikum, everybody. This is Mansour. So if y'all didn't know, Alyse Galvin is going to run for Congress again. And here's my thoughts on this. Alyse Galvin is a Zionist-funded oligarch who does the bidding of the New World Order and oil companies. Her husband is a high-level oil exec with Buccaneer Drilling. Galvin supports drilling in Anwar. She supports mining in Southeast Alaska. She supports... What else does she support? She supports expanding military bases and military operations in the Arctic. She's a Russophobe. She doesn't like the Russian... She has a McCarthyist reaction to the Russian government. She is a Zionist. She is an anti-Arab racist, and she likes to use the Arab community as photo opportunities. A lot of her supporters are these wealthy white liberals in places like Turn Again, South Edition, Bootleggers Cove. We're talking about families like the Hickel family, like the Gottsteins, like the Marstons, families like that. The Wiggins are another one that comes to mind that are Democratic mega fundraisers here in Alaska. But Alyse Galvin is bad news. She's bad news on environmental issues and on foreign policy. She's a liberal Zionist in the mold of Bernie Sanders. She supports drone strikes in Yemen. She supports the coup of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, and she supported the coups of Bouteflika in Algeria and Omar al-Bashir in Sudan. And she's a neoliberal, just like in foreign policy, just like Bernie Sanders. She has a very neoliberal foreign policy. It's not remotely left-wing. I wouldn't be surprised if she was funded by J Street or those with connections who might have connections to J Street, like the Gottstein family. I wouldn't be surprised if she was funded by BP or Shell or Exxon or Standard Oil or something like that, given her husband's ties to the Buccaneer Drilling Company. He's an executive at the Buccaneer Drilling Company. And Alyse Galvin claims to be about the poor people. She don't care about poor people. I'm a poor person. I'm a minority. She don't care about minorities. Hear it firsthand from a low-income minority himself. She doesn't care about us. The Democrats don't care about us. The Republicans don't care about us. They care about money. They only want the flus. They want katir flus. This guy doesn't have much money. Maybe the Gottstein family, the Hickel family, the Marston family, katir flus. They have a lot of money. They don't... They spend all this money on all these politicians, and then they, claim that they're fighting for us. No, they're not fighting for us. They're fighting for their bank accounts. So Alyse Galvin, despite what she might claim or how she might promote herself, as some kind of token diversity puppet, as the first Congresswoman of Alaska, she's no friend of the working people. She's a friend of the oligarchs. She's a friend of the Hickel family, the Gottstein family, the Marston family, British Petroleum, the Ruskin family, who, by the way, is a bunch of war criminals and should be extradited to Moscow to face war crimes charges. And, she's funded by all these wealthy, imperialist, Zionist families from Turn Again, South Edition, and Bootleggers Cove, yet she claims to represent poor people. She's also part of this organization called Great Alaska Schools, and one of the members of Great Alaska Schools, named Allison Arians, is a Zionist white supremacist and an Islamophobe. And how do I know? I personally know Allison Arians, all right? She made apologies for the racism, Islamophobia, hazing, and bully culture at South Anchorage High School. She made apologies for that. Her kids zoned for that school. I went to that school. My nephew goes to that school. My cousin, my brother, they all went to that school. So, you know, if she's surrounded herself by these really wealthy white Protestant liberals. That's most, and these really wealthy white liberals who have connections to oil companies, and you know, she's completely out of touch with reality, and that's why I don't think she can beat Dawn Young. I don't think any Democrat can beat Dawn Young. Not even these fake woke Bernie Sanders, liberal Zionist type Democrats. I don't think they can beat. I think that it's going to take somebody running in the Green Party or, another party to beat Dawn Young. I think the Green Party is the only party that can beat Dawn Young in the state of Alaska. Now, I don't participate in electoral politics. I'm not affiliated with any party. I think electoral politics are a dead end. But that being said, I do think the Green Party or a Green Party candidate is the only candidate that can beat Dawn Young in November 2020. Now about Al Gross or whatever the guy's name is running against Sullivan. I think Green Party candidates are the only candidates that can beat Republicans in Alaska, period. And I think even the Green Party is too right-wing for me. I mean, I ally myself with, with Houthis, the Ansarallah movement in Yemen, Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah. I support those movements because those are liberation movements. You know, I'm not going to sit here and have all these hipster liberals, criticize me and call me all kinds of Islamophobic, racist slurs. Like, I support liberation movements, authentic liberation movements, not, fake U.S. coup attempts that are painted as liberation movements. So that's a little bit about my, political ideology. For a long time, I was a Democrat, but I quit the Democratic Party, got out the Democratic plantation, and now I'm a left-wing guy. I'm too left for the U.S. political spectrum. There's really nobody that represents my interests here. So that's about me. But that being said, I don't think anybody within the very narrow confines of the U.S. political spectrum can be a true left-wing candidate, or I don't think anybody within the very narrow confines of the U.S. political spectrum can be a right-wing candidate in the U.S. I think if you're a left-winger but you don't fit on the political spectrum in the U.S., you have a way better chance of beating a Republican in the United States. Somebody like me, because we echo the sentiments of the ordinary people, of the populace, the proletariat. And I feel like candidates like Alyse Galvin and Al Gross and Mark Begich, they do a lot of kabuki theater. They do a lot of, I support the working man, the working person, whatever. But in the end of the day, they'll just sell you out. So with Alyse Galvin, she's no different than Mark Begich. She's no different than Al Gross. She's no different than Steve Lindbeck. She's no different than Felix Rivera or John Weddleton. And at the end of the day, she'll sell you out. And that's just the honest truth about Alyse Galvin. She's doing this to fatten her pockets and her husband's pockets. That's the bottom line. And she'll sell you out. So my advice for you, get a good, somebody that's good on foreign policy, somebody that's as left as me or farther to the left on foreign policy. Run that person against Alyse Galvin, and make her pay for being a right-wing neocon. That's what we're gonna have to do, because it's not gonna come from, this challenge is not gonna come from, the Alaska Democratic Party or even the Alaska Green Party. It's going to come from way further to the left. Somebody like me, somebody like, I don't know what other left-wing Alaskans are out there, but it's going to come from the far left. And that's how we'll defeat her. That's how we'll defeat Don Young. And that's how, you know, and I know for sure I'm not going to run into no politics, because I don't believe in electoral politics, at least from an American situation, and at least in an American context. Maybe in a Lebanese context, or like a Yemeni context, or Sudanese context, or something like that. Yeah, maybe. But in American context, I don't believe in electoral politics, because I believe they're a dead end. But, you know, there needs to be someone that's as far left as me or farther to the left running, you know, to shake the status quo. You know what I'm saying? So don't support Alyse Galvin. Do everything you can to oppose her. Do everything you can possibly do to oppose Don Young. And let's make this happen. Peace.